Now it's time to welcome our first guest, former estate planning attorney, Catherine Hodder. She's also the Amazon #1 best-selling author of the book, Estate Planning for the Sandwich Generation, How to Keep Your Parents and Protect Your Kids. We last saw Catherine on the show back in July of last year. Catherine, thanks again for being with us here on The Income Generation.
Oh, thanks for having me back, Dave.
So we talk a lot in the show about the sandwich generation. Why is it so important for the sandwich generation, even more so than other generations, to make sure that they have their estate planning affairs in order?
Well, by definition of the sandwich generation, there are many dependents. There's aging parents that they're concerned with and, perhaps supporting, as well as younger children, either supporting them or worrying about them as they grow. So people in the sandwich generation have many more dependents and people who rely on them. So if something happens to them, somebody has to take over and help out in that role.
It's not just having adult children that are financially independent. It's a lot more than that.
It is.
Okay. But wait a minute. The estate tax thresholds are 11 million. Gosh, if I'm married, it's 22 million. I don't have to worry about estate taxes anymore. Why do we need to do estate planning?
Well, estate planning isn't just about taxes. And estate planning has to do with as much as you being alive as much as you being dead. So, for example, if you face an incapacity, which is a very likely event, you need someone to handle your finances, handle your medical decisions. And that's just something that the only way is addressed is through estate planning with legal documents.
20 seconds. What words of wisdom do you have for people who want to encourage their parents to do estate planning that's needed?
Well, I think the best way is to ask their advice and say, look, I want to help you as you age, and the best way I can do that is to know what you want in life. So if you are hospitalized and you have an end-stage illness, what procedures do you want taken or not taken? Who do you want to manage your medical care? Who do you want to step in your shoes and handle your finances if you're hospitalized for a period of time? So it's really to get the advice from the parents, which they love to give, and, just work together.
Yeah, makes sense. We need to take commercial breaks. We need to leave it there for now. Catherine, stay with us. We'll be right back in a minute. And you stay with us, too. We have more words of wisdom from our good friend, Catherine Hodder, here on The Income Generation. We'll be right back. And now it's time to bring back a qualified, former estate planning attorney, Catherine Hodder. Catherine, thanks for sticking around.
Good to be here.
Now, you get some tough situations where perhaps a spouse becomes ill or incapacitated or something like that happens, where really having your I's dotted and T's crossed in an estate plan is very important. Can you just describe a couple of situations in your personal experience that you've seen where situations like that could have been a lot worse had these people not had their estate plan in order?
Well, yes. Being an estate planning attorney, many of my clients, had relayed to me the ways that estate planning documents helped pave the way in either getting information from doctors because they had the medical power of attorney, or dealing with banks because they had the financial power of attorney, because, these institutions aren't really set up to hand out information. So that's been important to hear. But also my father had a 10-year battle with Alzheimer's, and he used all the estate planning documents, or we did, throughout his illness and death. And I can tell you from that experience that if we didn't have those documents, what was really a struggle would have been made so much more worse.
Oh, let me switch gears. I appreciate you sharing that personal story with us, first of all. Changing gears, how about documents? Why is it so important to have documents all in one place that are accessible?
That's a great point, because in my practice, I would hand my clients a 911 binder, I called it. And it's where they'd keep all their legal, medical, and financial documents in one place, because, if there's a sudden hospitalization, the people who are in charge of, stepping in your shoes, well, where are they going to find the information? How are they going to know where your advanced medical directive is. So that's something I encourage everyone to do, especially as they start the estate planning process. It's a great time to put together these are my list of assets, these are my list of liabilities, here's where I bank, that type of information.
Sure. So they don't have to fish all over the place looking for it, which sadly happens all too often.
Right. And it's the worst time during an emergency to, suddenly be on a scavenger hunt.
Of course, of course. So in the 1 minute we have left in this segment, without giving too much away, we don't need you to do that because we want people to go and buy the book. But estate planning, best-selling book, Estate Planning for the Sandwich Generation. Without giving too much away, what are 3 of your best estate planning tips for our viewers?
Well, one is communication, and that's either with talking with your aging parents or your family members about what you want, what they want. And in the book, I have many conversation starters and questions to ask. So communication is key.
Okay.
Keeping things in one place, as I mentioned, that 911 binder. And then finally, just take it step by step. It seems very onerous trying to make all the decisions, but I break it down into 10 easy steps. Like step 1 is look at beneficiary designations, which is an important thing, but it really doesn't take a lot of time. So it's really a step-by-step way to get your estate plan together.
Great advice. Whenever you have an overwhelming task that you're confronted with, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. That's simple. So, Catherine, thanks so much for being on the show. Once again, it was our pleasure having you.
Oh, thanks again, Dave. It's always a pleasure.
And you stay with us. We'll be back with more here with the Income Generation. I'm David Scranton, and we'll be right back.